The Civil Court pushes back judicial review matter over government procurement practices to September. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court adjourns appeal proceedings in the Abel Checo John Baptist defamation case, and Prime Minister Skerrit wants member governments within CARICOM to pick up the pace of implementing policy decisions. I'm Idona John Baptist with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Welcome back. First up, no date set yet to hear the judicial review matter challenging government's tendering process for the Roseau West Bridge project. The legal teams for the Joint Consultative Committee for the Construction Sector and Government were expected to return to court on Wednesday to be given directions for the hearing. However, only the legal representation for the Construction Sector Committee showed up at the Civil Court for the second consecutive day. The committee made an application for judicial review on the 22nd of June. Judicial review is the legal process by which one challenges the lawfulness of a decision by a public authority. The courts would have the power in such a matter to declare acts of either the government or the parliament unconstitutional. Senior Counsel Reginald Amo and Attorney Vanessa Gopal of Trinidad and local attorney Kevin Williams are representing the Construction Sector Committee, while Senior Counsel Anthony Astafan and a Barbadian attorney are representing government. They are to return to court in September for a date to be scheduled for the judicial review hearing. Among those served are the Minister of Finance, Minister of Public Works, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Public Works, Chief Procurement Officer, and members of the Central Procurement Board. Police officer and Calypsonian Abel Checo John Baptist has been given until the 22nd of August to file and serve his defense on the amount of money he was ordered to pay by the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, failing which the appeal shall stand dismissed. Andrea Louis has more.
John Baptist was fined $130,000 by High Court Judge Errol Thomas after he failed to file a defense in a defamatory suit filed by Dr. Philbert Aaron. Dr. Aaron filed a claim against Checo in 2013, claiming that a song penned and sung by Checo in 2011 defamed him. John Baptist filed an acknowledgement of service on February 13, 2013, but he filed no defense within the prescribed time for filing, and on March 6, 2013, Aaron requested an entry of judgment in default, which was obtained on March 13, 2013. A subsequent application to set aside the judgment in default was denied. Justice Errol Thomas awarded $75,000 for general damages, $50,000 for aggravated damages, and $5,000 for exemplary damages. Checo's lawyer, Singola Blomquist Williams, told the ECSC that, and I quote, "We have conceded that we cannot appeal the substantive matter of the case, but the quantum," end quote. She asked the court for an adjournment to continue negotiating. While that was granted, lawyer for Dr. Aaron, Noelis Knight Didier, asked for costs in the amount of $800, which was granted. That matter is now set for the November 2016 sitting of the court in Dominica.
And some tragic news for a family of 4 who is now homeless following a huge fire in St. Joseph on Wednesday.
The fire took place in an area called Morn in St. Joseph and completely destroyed the wooden home of 2 adults and their children. Another building, home to 3 individuals, was partially damaged. According to eyewitnesses, a bucket brigade ensued, and the fire service in St. Joseph also responded in quick time. Despite strong winds working against the firefighters, they quickly contained the fire, preventing its spread to neighboring buildings. No loss of life or injury was reported.
In more news, public consultations will continue this week in Portsmouth and Roseau on a fast ferry project expected to generate income for the country. Julian Morris explains.
The project's coordinator, Joseph Leblanc, says small vessel owners and their shipping agents are to benefit from the venture. The companies which Leblanc manages intend on purchasing 2 fast ferries and developing portable jetties on land at Point Round and Picard River for the ferry project.
We had to take into consideration the stakeholders and particularly the small vessel owners who most of them are from Portsmouth, who are the ones really keeping the shipping industry between the islands alive. And bringing in fast ferries into the region would mean that it would be taking their livelihood from them. Life Inc. basically is the company, non-profit, which is going to ensure that the small vessel owners, who are the key stakeholders, will not be marginalized. So they will be given the opportunity to become part owners of the project.
The public forums planned will take place at the Portsmouth Catholic Church on Thursday and Saturday at the Public Service Union building. Among the objectives of such a venture, to offer a reliable shipping and transportation service within the Caribbean.
It will be ensured that they and their family, especially the shipping agents, these people will be absorbed within the employment facet of such a project. And we are looking forward to working with them. Most of them we have spoken to are very much interested in the project.
Amendments to the Sexual Offences Act to be passed when Parliament convenes following the national budget debate.
Justice Minister Rayburn Blackmore has given his word that the Sexual Offences Bill is the legislative agenda for this year on the heels of criticism by the NGO Coalition for the Protection of Children.
In light of the fact that we are currently in the budget cycle for 2016-2017, it makes sense, therefore, for the bill to be taken to Parliament after the approval of this year's budget. The first Parliament after the passage of this year's budget, the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill will be taken to Parliament.
In December 2015, government appointed a Sexual Offences Review Committee, chaired by legal advisor Ray Harris, to look at sexual offences legislation with a view to updating it.
Recently, Parliament convened for less than a day to pass two simple amendments to the Money Laundering Prevention Act and the Proceeds of Crimes Act. We only appreciate, therefore, that the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill will stimulate serious debate and dialogue, and therefore will one day, in my view, will not be enough for such a very important bill to be debated.
This is Channel 5 News. Coming up, Dominica to observe 2 days of mourning. We'll explain why. Thanks for staying with us. The new chairman of CARICOM has appealed to his colleague heads of government to stop dragging their feet on implementing critical policies which they have already agreed to. Here's Julian Morris.
Prime Minister Skerrit is concerned that a backlog of approved but unimplemented measures creates stagnation and frustrate implementation of new CARICOM policies.
A common factor running through all, and which needs to be put right and strengthened in CARICOM, is the efficiency with which we make decisions and implement them. Significant time and resources have been spent by our technical officers and the CARICOM Secretariat in carrying forward the mandates from our councils. Some of these issues have occupied our attention for many years without final resolution. The institutions of our community must operate more efficiently to remove these long-standing items off the regional agenda. This will certainly allow for swifter action to be taken on the more immediate issues.
Mr. Skerrit says CARICOM is not about imposing policies and programs on member states, but empowering them by democratic means.
A major responsibility, therefore, falls at the level of member states to get things moving. For example, we have agreed on a number of measures to advance the CARICOM single market and economy, and our officials have completed all the necessary technical work. However, due to the failure of our member states to give the go-ahead, those critical measures remain unattended. There are several other cases which can be listed as demonstrating that there can be more movement in other areas of the CSME. The completion could enhance our competitiveness and create considerable opportunities for our community. These include the establishment of a labor market information system, a single information and communications technology ICT space, a regional framework of cooperation to combat crime and enhance security, and legislation to help control non-communicable diseases, NCDs.
Dominica will observe 2 days of national mourning for the late Patrick Manning, former Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Manning died from leukemia on Saturday at the age of 69, according to a press release from the Office of the Prime Minister. The 2 days of national mourning are to show respect and to celebrate the life of the former Prime Minister and regional leader. During the 37th regular meeting of CARICOM heads in Guyana, Dominica's Prime Minister and CARICOM Chairman, Honorable Roosevelt Skerry, told the gathering that Manning was a sincere advocate for regional integration and he would rely on Manning's wisdom for important regional matters. According to the Office of the Prime Minister in Trinidad and Tobago, the funeral service will be held on Saturday. In keeping with protocol to mark the period of mourning, the flag of the Commonwealth of Dominica will be flown at half-staff on all public buildings in the state on Friday, July 8 and Saturday, July 9.
On the agriculture scene, farmers are being advised to pay close attention to changes in the climate as it will have varying effects on their agricultural practices.
An official with the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, who is also an agrometeorologist, says farmers need to be particularly mindful of abnormalities in the weather forecast.
There's times like these when we are predicting that there's likelihood of abnormalities that we have to take note. And if we're suggesting that, what are you going to put in place should that eventuality take place? If we're going to suggest above normal, abnormally high, extreme rainfall events, as we are suggesting in this case, or on the other hand, the last 12 to 18 months across the Caribbean, we were talking about below normal rainfall, which could have translated to drought conditions. So what will you do as a farmer, as you asked me, for example? You're going to hear, well, we're suggesting that the next 3 to 6 months will be drier than normal. What if I say that after you've gone through 3 to 6 months of dryness already?
The CIMH official says the Caribbean's agricultural industry is heavily based on rainfall, and changes in climate and weather will affect the productivity of the agricultural sector. Weather relates to atmospheric conditions over a short period of time, whereas climate is how the atmosphere behaves over relatively long periods of time.
Farmers know the climate, just as well, when it's not the climate, not the climate forecast, which is different. In other words, farmers know from year to year the conditions generally. The problem is when it deviates too far from what they know generally. Support is needed to help them to make those kinds of decisions.
That's news. Coming up, your sports highlights with Kenny Williams.
First up in sports, A.B. de Villiers struck 63 and S. Malik 54 to help Barbados Tridents defeat St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots by 7 wickets in the Caribbean Premier League on Tuesday. Patriots, first at the crease, scored 162 for 8. Evan Lewis scored 50, while Jonathan Carter supported with 41. Carlos Brathwaite was out for 4 and Lendell Simmons 2. Set 163 to win, Trident scored 166 for 3 in 18.4 overs. Samuel Badri took 1 for 39 for Patriots. The competition continues on Thursday between the Jamaica Talawas and Guyana Amazon Warriors. On the football scene, the Dominica State College registered a 9-0 win on Tuesday to book themselves a spot in the final of the DFA Sports Division Secondary Schools Girls Final against Grammar School. State College made their dominance known when they had the Pierre Charles Secondary under their heel in the semi-final stage. Sharon Serra registered a beaver trick and Donisha Xavier a hat trick for DSC. Romelcia Phillip joined in and supported with 2 more goals. Meantime, Dominica Grammar School defeated Casabrew Secondary 1-0. Shanai Karti scored for Grammar School. The final will be played on Thursday with Dominica Grammar School taking on the State College at Lindo Park from 2 p.m. Showers of blessings or not? Well, more games were affected by the weather as action in the Flow DABA League was postponed on Tuesday. However, should the weather hold up, the league continues on Thursday when the Ronald Charles and Willie Barbershop All-Stars takes on Fashion Line Falcons in a Division 1 showdown at 7, to be followed by Elijah Law Chambers Thunderers versus Eagles at 9. The action is set to unfold at Massac. In other sports now, well, it's July and the Ivor Stevenson Riviera Seaweek Football League is gearing up for action. The league opens with a ballorama with teams from the Riviera Seaweek area.
At present, we have 12 teams. I mean, the league has been improving year after year. It's our 6th year, and for the past years, it's like we've been moving up in crowd. And for the past, as I said, the past 6 years, the crowd has been moving out, and we have been getting much and much. Although we would like some more sponsorship to make the league much grand.
Next up, South African Olympic athlete Oscar Pistorius has been sentenced for 6 years in prison for the murder of his girlfriend in 2013. He was initially given a 5-year term for manslaughter, but was found guilty of murder on appeal last December. He was taken immediately to jail. Both the prosecution and defense can appeal, but his lawyers said they will not. Pistorius, 29, shot his girlfriend 4 times through a locked toilet door in February 2013. He admitted shooting her, but said he had mistaken the deceased for an intruder and acted out of fear. The judge said mitigating circumstances such as rehabilitation and remorse overweighed aggravating factors such as his failure to fire a warning shot for deviating from the prescribed 15-year sentence. Still in sports, rainfall forced the postponement of action in the DAVA National League on Tuesday. Flo Wolfpack and DB's Young Vets were scheduled to play from Friday. However, rainfall over the past few days forced the abandonment of play. The games should take place next week as some members of the various teams leave Ireland on Thursday for the Eastern Caribbean Volleyball Association tournament, which runs from 7th to 11th July. And finally, 767 young ballers will come up against Burt Motors Young Stars on Thursday in the 2016 Fast Cash Harlem Football League. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Janik Delma Samuel is next with Flashback, brought to you by the $3 Mega Plus store.
Welcome to another Flashback segment. On this segment, we are revisiting a part of history that many of you may not remember. In 1995, a new ferry service was introduced to Dominica called the Atlantica. This ferry, which was a replacement to the Madeira ferry, was introduced to create ease of transfer for passengers between Martinique, Guadeloupe, and Dominica.
So this ship replaces the Madeira, and as of today, it will be making regular runs to Dominica, carrying hundreds of tourists and visitors into Dominica. The advent of this ship is certainly going to enhance our tourist arrivals, because a major plus for the ship is that it is now the fastest ferry operating in and out of Dominica.
This is an improvement on what we had in the past. We look at the Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, Dominica communication as a very, very important linkage in our tourism development, and we will do everything in Dominica to encourage it and to facilitate it. I believe that this business is growing and it's likely to grow in the future, and both restaurants, the hotels, the taxis, and everybody are likely to benefit from this tourist business between the Guadeloupe and Martinique market.
The service to Dominica unfortunately lasted about a year, although this was not a void, as L'Express des Îles continued its service and it's still operating, even adding St. Lucia to the list of islands on their route. I bet you forgot about this one. Another interesting story from our archives. I am Janik Delma Samuel. See you next week on another Flashback segment.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I am your presenter, Annie Corrett-Joseph. The Atlantic high pressure system was the dominant feature across Dominica today, and this resulted in partly cloudy to cloudy skies. Visible satellite imagery showed mostly low-level clouds mainly to the east of the island chain, and this area of cloudiness is expected to move across the area during tonight. Earlier radar imagery indicated some scattered showers mainly to the east of the islands and moving westward. Conditions for tonight: partly cloudy to cloudy with some scattered showers. Tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with a few brief scattered showers, some hazy conditions as well. Sea conditions: moderate in open water with waves up to 8 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, you are advised to exercise some caution. Taking a look at the extended forecast, again tomorrow Thursday, partly cloudy skies with a few brief scattered showers. On Friday, a weak surface trough is expected to move across the area, resulting in partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers. On Saturday, partly cloudy skies with some brief scattered showers. Some hazy conditions also on Thursday and Friday. The Atlantic high pressure system will remain the dominant feature across most of the island chain tomorrow, resulting in partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers. Meanwhile, some thunderstorm can be expected across the extreme southern portion. On the international scene, some thunderstorms in New York and Caracas, clear skies in Miami, overcast skies in London, and partly cloudy conditions in Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:40 a.m. and set at 6:40 p.m. For up-to-date information, log on to our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and join us next time. Good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. The civil court pushes back judicial review matter over government procurement practices to September. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court adjourns appeal proceedings in the Abel Checo John Baptist defamation case. And Prime Minister Skerrit wants member governments witin CARICOM to pick up the pace of implementing policy decisions. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewJuly6th2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I'm John Baptist. To all our viewers around the world, thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.